Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday. I'm Brooke Hash. Extreme winter weather is affecting millions of Americans around the country, from Arctic temperatures to historic rare snow on the Gulf Coast. 10 storm-related deaths have been reported so far, several from exposure to cold temperatures. As ABC's Rena Roy reports, at least 90,000 homes and businesses are without power today from Texas to Florida.
Once-in-a-lifetime snow slamming the Gulf Coast. Many areas seeing more snow than they have in at least 130 years. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, turning into a winter wonderland. In Milton, Florida, just north of Pensacola, more than 8 inches falling. Interstate 10 there shutting down.
I don't have to tell anybody that we're not necessarily used to walking in a winter wonderland here in Florida.
Icy conditions in Louisiana closing the world's longest bridge over water.
The challenge I think we're going to face is the bridges right now are acting like big ice trays.
State authorities responding to at least 50 crashes as parts of Louisiana saw their first ever blizzard warning. New Orleans and Baton Rouge seeing historic snow totals up to 8 inches. For many, it's their first white winter.
It's just a crazy thing to see.
Officials in Houston, Texas, calling in trucks and supplies from as far as Wisconsin. The city does not own a single snowplow. More than 173 million Americans across 32 states are under cold weather alerts. All-time record cold temperatures in Louisiana this morning, Lafayette dropping to 4 degrees. The frigid weather causing power outages being blamed for several deaths. And in Boston, the transit authority warning there may be delays on trains due to the extreme cold.
And there have been several thousand flight cancellations, with a number of airports closing their doors, including Tallahassee. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Sam, you put things into perspective where we were so used to winter weather and we have all the plows and salt. And a week after our major snowstorm, we were still in gridlock in some areas. Then you take a look at the south there, they don't have plows, as you heard.
The little things like that. You know, you think about the little things as well. They might not even have winter coats in a lot of situations. So luckily they should be warming up pretty soon, and a lot of that snow will be melting. But it's going to take a while because a lot of them saw upwards of a half foot of snow, if not more. Here's actually a look at our local forecast. Of course, we're just talking about the cold. It's been pretty dry, but of course, Arctic cold air has really been plunging into much of our neck of the woods. 4 degrees was the low temperature in Louisville. This is the coldest that we have been since January 20th of last year. So to put in perspective, it's been some time since we've seen this kind of cold. 12 right now in Mitchell. We're actually sitting at 16 in Louisville. I do have some good news. We are going to be seeing temperatures warm up each and every day in our 7-day forecast. So today into the middle 20s at best into the afternoon, but a step in the right direction, of course. The wind chill, though, a heads up. A little bit of a breeze out of the south, of course, dragging in warmer air, but that increasing wind speed does continue to make it feel a little cooler as we're still in the single digits for the wind chill. So today, likely striking about 26. There will be a mix of clouds and some sunshine. So again, another day picking up some decent sun. Now the deal is, cue the warm up. We're going to be seeing some warmer temperatures each day, tomorrow into the 30s, and likely into the Friday time frame just below 30, but we're previewing along with the 30s tomorrow, a couple of snow flurries. The full forecast on those snow flurries coming up.
Sam, thank you. President Donald Trump has authorized immigration officials to start targeting churches and schools, reversing a previous directive to prevent arrest in those areas deemed sensitive. It is the latest step the new Trump administration has taken to fulfill his campaign promise of mass deportations. ABC's Christiane Cordero is in Washington.
Today, schools and churches nationwide are new targets for immigration enforcement after the Trump administration revoked a policy that barred arrests in sensitive areas.
They're pretty scared. Lots of questions about, are they safe here at school? Are they safe riding a school bus? Can they be just walking down the street and picked up? Lots and lots of fear.
It's part of a sweeping effort to move ahead with President Trump's campaign promise of mass deportations.
Birthright.
That also includes ending birthright citizenship, which already faces challenges in court. The administration disputes its protection under the 14th Amendment. Tomorrow, a judge in Seattle will consider a temporary restraining order to stop Trump's executive action. It's one of 4 federal lawsuits filed saying taking birthright citizenship away is unconstitutional, and the president doesn't have the authority to change its conditions.
I have one message for President Trump. I'll see you in court.
At yesterday's National Prayer Service, Bishop Marianne Buddy asked Trump to have empathy for undocumented immigrants.
And that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
In a social media post, Trump called the bishop a radical left hardline Trump hater, saying her sermon was inappropriate. Trump also issued a directive putting federal employees working on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs on administrative leave today. It's part of a larger vow to reverse DEI and affirmative action efforts nationwide, another campaign promise. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Well, here in Louisville, Mayor Craig Greenberg says his office is not aware of any executive orders issued so far that would change how they are running our city. The same goes for Metro Police, which said it'll keep following that 2017 city immigration policy adopted during Trump's first term. The LMPD said it would only help ICE officers if there's a criminal warrant when a crime has occurred or in an emergency situation where there's a clear public danger. Well, now to an update from Jivon. 2 months after 2 workers died in its plant explosion, the company now says it will not rebuild at that site on Payne Street in Clifton. Our Alex Dieter and photojournalist Levi Hammer explain what's next for the company and this community.
A plant that has been sitting on Payne Street in the Clifton neighborhood since the 1940s is now nothing but rubble, loose wires, bent metal, and signs that point to nowhere.
The fear of the explosion has passed, but the memory's still there.
2 months after the Jivon plant exploded and killed 2 workers, neighbors are getting their wish.
Yeah, I think it'll be beneficial for everybody.
The plant's owners are leaving. They will not rebuild on Payne Street.
I'm surprised that they hadn't already been moved out.
Excellent. That they are not coming back to this property to build rebuild their factory.
The announcement was made by the company the same day Metro Councilman Andrew Owen, who represents the Clifton neighborhood, told us what he now wants on the 3-acre lot: affordable housing.
If it were up to me, we could do some kind of a housing development that had mixed incomes, and I think that would be great for the neighborhood and great for the city.
Owen stood next to Jivon President Ann Leonard when she met with neighbors face-to-face back in November. She hinted at the plant's move.
We are looking at and prioritizing other locations to continue our operations going forward.
But nothing was confirmed until now.
I'm not surprised, but I'm very pleased.
2 months later, after people who live near the plant petitioned the company to build elsewhere, neighbors are now breathing a sigh of relief.
We are 800 feet from the epicenter of the explosion.
Clifton Community Council President Michael Leary is happy the plant is out of his backyard, but doesn't want it to go too far.
I would like very much for it to stay in Louisville Metro. I would hope that they will do it in an area that is not anywhere close to residential homes. For those people who are home asleep in their residential zoned neighborhood, they should not become victims of an industrial explosion.
We saw several investigators still on the site, showing it's going to be months to come before it's all over for good. In the Clifton neighborhood, Alex Dieter, the WHAS11 night team, on your side.
And although they did not give specifics for plans in Louisville, about a month after that explosion, the company said it was planning to open a $130 million facility in Ohio. It announced this in December, and when we asked the company if this would replace the Louisville facility, they would not confirm. It's expected to create hundreds of jobs just outside of Cincinnati. Jivon also said Crawford Insurance has reviewed most of the damaged homes in the Clifton neighborhood at this point. Jivon anticipates it will start processing those checks in February. Some homeowners have chosen to have their insurance companies do the assessment instead. The company said the deductible cost for validated repairs will be reimbursed by Jivon. This morning, community leaders joined Volunteers of America for a groundbreaking of a new affordable housing complex, Monarch Station. The complex will be a combination of traditional affordable housing and permanent supportive housing. It's located on Shelby Street and will be a first of its kind here in Louisville.
Can you imagine waking up this morning, 4 degrees, minus 10 wind factors, living in a little piece of plastic in the woods? I mean, we can do better than that. And I really appreciate the compassion in our community to bring about things like the Community Care Center, the Monarch Station, and to continue to see the incredible support and worthy support for the Volunteers of America.
Residents will have access to case management and on-site services to help them work towards stable futures. Louisville Civilian Review and Accountability Board will hold its first meeting of the year today. It's set to discuss recent rulings and developments with the city's consent decree. A federal judge is currently deciding whether the federal oversight plan can be carried within LMPD. The Office of Inspector General will also present findings from the investigation into the officer-involved shooting of Omari Cryer. Cryer was shot and killed by a U.S. Marshal in May of 2022. Today's meeting is at City Hall at 3 o'clock. A nightmare at